go check it out online so you don't think I'm some, creepy Facebook weirdo, but it's what your kid's doing is great. And if you want to get them started in a cool group, give us a shout. So anyway.
Thanks for that, man. Yeah, man. I want us to grow and spread that vibe. That vibe is so necessary in the drum community, man. And I saw it so clearly that day. There was a guy that couldn't really hang, and he was, out of his skin, nervous, trying to jump in the mix, but trying to be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play my best. And you could tell he was like thinking about what he was going to do all day. And so they're like, go ahead, man. And then he like starts with a beat and starts playing. And even his beat was a little like rocky. He was just so nervous. And you could tell the dude could play. He was just completely crazy nervous. And they immediately started ripping this dude apart. Like, no, man, hold on. You need to play something that you can play. I don't think you're ready to play that beat, and stuff like that. And like, instead of like, like how we are in this, where it's just like, man, great. You sound great. Yeah, just keep it up. That's dope. And then like that boosts his confidence. He feels like he belongs, and then he can play. It was like, nah, man, you know what, man, we need two drummers that can play. You need to get off, get somebody else, get in there. And I was just like, bro, I just felt like going, come on, man, you could come with us, like, so, it was that kind of thing where I was just like, dude, the drum community needs more of this, the drum community needs more, positivity, and that's their thing. A lot of the drummers vibe off of that. They're using sports analogies like, this is like football practice. You need to go against, or like sparring, you need to go against somebody that's better than you, or go against somebody that's bigger than you. And I'm like, yeah, it's not like that for me. I'm all about like jumping in a shed where I'm the weak guy to improve, but I don't want to feel like I'm going against somebody with the drums. That's not why I do it. I've been playing drums professionally, and I've been teaching drums professionally for years. I don't need some kid that has all these chops to show me how, to make me feel inferior. It's lame. So, but if you can get up outside of that, if like my goal was to maintain that positive vibe, and I feel like I accomplished that day. And I really felt bad for some of the dudes that were jumping in though. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's, I think that mantra, that message of acceptance and belonging, people vibe off of that. And so seeing that especially at a shed, that like an outside shed, how people were gravitating toward that. It wasn't my playing, but people were still like, dude, that dude's cool, man. We got to make sure he comes back next time, and it was just like, that made me feel really good, that it was like outside of my playing, it was like, man, that's what I've been working on, and what we've been working on building here is like coming across in an outside shed. So it's really cool. Man, let's get started. Enough of me rambling about how much I hate my gigs and like how negative sheds are. Way to start our Monday. Okay, so let's get on this. Let's natify the 553. Where's Nat been? Speaking of, is he over chops and coffee? Oh, this one isn't. What was I thinking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, let's not. I don't know what was I thinking? I was thinking of something else. Anyways, let's not natify it. Let's just do the 553. This one's very easy. First warm up. So if I'm just explaining this one really quickly, maybe if you're having a hard time reading this, like 1 EN, a 2 and a 3 EN, 4 EN, like just. It's easier for me to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 16 notes for 2 bars. Okay, does everybody understand that? Everybody got that? Okay, and then keep note of the sticking. This is alternating sticking. So
is it all single stroke? Is it all just
Yes, all
Okay.
not 5-stroke rolls, all single strokes. You can 5-stroke this if you want, but I'm going to be playing single strokes. Again, if you guys want to up the ante, of course you can play your, ostinato, your samba ostinato, whatever you'd like to do on that. So I'm just going to play our hands, and we'll get started. I have a good one I need to pull up, and we'll do that one next. I don't even want to explain it, and we'll break it down so everyone can participate. All right, 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3. Let me get my metronome. All right, is that good? Is that too fast to start? So I think that's a fair tempo. Let's keep repeating this too. I know there's not repeats written, but we'll just keep repeating it, and then I'll stop us. Let me get my timer. Here we go. Oops. 1 2 ready go. Ah. Two. Here we go. One more time after this. 2, ready, go. All right, cool. Let me switch this out. Done. Go back to 1 minute. There we go. All right, let's step this up a little bit. Here we go. 1 2 ready. Couple more. One more after this. Ready? Go. All right. Very cool. Let me get some coffee. Dude, one thing that I did notice is I was rusty on this gig last night. Oh, man. A lot of ideas in my head and a lot of lack of execution. Especially we had to do a cocktail hour jazz set, and I was like, oh. A lot of the stuff that I'm trying to do is not working.
Yeah, it's kind of coming back to a foreign language after not speaking it for a year and a half. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's the same kind of just instant recall that you need to have in order to be fluent.
Yep.
That just kind of takes 1 second longer than it has to.
That's
exactly when you're playing in time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Where I was like, "What am I even doing? Like, pull it together." So yeah. All right, here we go. Last time. 2, 1, 2, hey. Halfway there. Last one here. All right. Very nice. Very nice. I like that one. It's an easy warm up, but it's I love warm ups that alternate, like left hand lead, right hand lead, all that stuff. So very cool.
This one's pretty cool. You could try the that little chop, that not little, but the chop you showed us with the 5-stroke paradiddle, the paradiddle did. You remember that one? Right,
yeah,
left,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, left. Yeah.
Yes,
Left,
yes.
Yeah. So doing that and then doing like a double stroke and a single at the end, or for the triple.
I should yes. Okay, I'm gonna write that. Change the sticking and write that for Monday or for Wednesday. Because yeah, that will alternate. That's really cool. Yeah, parad. Yeah. Oh, what was it? What? Yeah, that's cool. All right, good idea. I'm gonna adjust that. Let me pull this up here. This is another Zildjian workout. Now this one today, I don't want to try to read all the way down for my sake. Let me see here. Zildjian. 1 second here. Is this one?
While you're pulling that up, Corey. Sam, what kind of car is that behind you?
That is an old '64 Studebaker Lark, and it's one of those things that if the money ever comes, I know where to put it. It was my mom's car when I was like real young,
That is
and so it's
cool.
like my dream restoration project.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1. This may have been a mistake to pull up, but let's try it. All right, so this one is really hard. Yeah. For me, this one's really hard, but this is already so you can, if you're looking at this, first of all, it's in 7. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it flams the first note. I call that natifying it because Nat would have told us to do this on these anyways. Then you flam and diddle the first note. Then you flam and diddle the first 2 notes. So I want to take the first 4 bars right here and put a repeat right here, and then not move on until we master this, and then move on, then do the next 4 bars until we master that, and then the next 4 bars, and so on. So just for right here till right here. So just accenting. Okay. Let me fix this metronome thing. So still too fast. And it's not 16th notes, it's 8th notes. So now I'm confused again. Gosh dang it.
I'm not sure if this is part of the if not part of the practice that we're looking for, but it might be helpful if we take off the dominant beat on the metronome so that we don't get the 4 that pops in.
Good idea. And I'm doing it as 16th notes, so that was wrong on my part. So let me work through this. Let's see. 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, okay. Okay. So okay. So does everybody kind of get this? Is everybody okay with this? It's kind of similar to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. If you're counting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That will help a little bit. If I try to count this in 7, I'm completely lost and out. And then just accenting. The accents are what's going to throw it off. Yeah.
I've never seen the accents in the sticking before. That threw me off for a second. I was like, wait a minute. R-I.
Yeah, it's RL.
Right.
Lowercase L to tell you that it's not accented.
Right.
But yeah, that's also very confusing. So once we get this pattern right here, then the rest kind of becomes a little bit easier. Because it's similar to the one that it's similar to Nat's warm up that we do like that, except Nat's warm up is in 4. So we can actually revisit that if you want before we jump on this. But this is one that I'm actually working on, like to be able to play fluidly all the way through. And I know it's a simple for marching band guys. If you guys are streaming with us or whatever, like I know this is probably so basic and simple for you. This is a level 1 warm up on Zildjian, but for a guy like me that is not in drum corps or anything like that, not super proficient at reading, especially in odd times and all that stuff. This is
a really basic question, and I feel like I just started playing drums to ask it, but I always wonder this with different time signatures and different notations. It's like you have a group of 7 notes individually spaced. I mean, evenly. They're all, the spacing between them is all evenly.
yes.
So couldn't I just read that as 1 and a 2 and? As a,
No, because first these are 8th notes.
right. They're 8th notes.
But you also, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, anybody out there, you wouldn't count this 1 and 2 and 3 and, you would count just this. This just means that there are 7 8th notes. This bottom number tells you what number, what notes you're using. The top
Right.
number, how many. So there are 7 8th notes straight up, like in this.
Yeah, you would count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Exactly.
I get that.
I was going to say the same thing. You can't count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4
Yeah.
because then you don't have an and a 4. You'd go 3 and 4 1.
Yes.
Well, I get that part.
It's also
I
just sort of disorienting to think like that,
I definitely understand that they're 8th notes getting the beat and not quarter notes, and there's 7 of them, so it should be counted 1 through 7. But would it play any different? I mean, I understand that's just like a notation thing, but if somebody, let's say we didn't look at this at all,
It'll be the same like what you're thinking.
if you just heard somebody playing it,
You would think in your head 1 E and a 2 E and 1 E and a 2 E and 2 E. 1 E and a 2
Yeah.
E and 1 2 E and 1 E and a 1 E.
which is cheating. It's not correct.
So you're just talking about counting it different.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, if I heard you just play that, like, what would my brain count it as?
Yeah, so that is, however, man, my rule, especially like in my lessons, is, man, whatever's going to get you to play it correctly,
Right.
use that. That's why I use pizza toppings with all the younger guys. Like, sausage, pepperoni. If that's going to help you, dude, for me, I still, when I see a triplet, I'm still like pineapple, because it's how my brain reacts to it and I get in rhythm,
I'm dying because I was at 7-Eleven the other day over the weekend. I never go to 7-Eleven, but I went skiing and I was near whatever. And there was cheesy bread in 7-Eleven. And all I could think about was rudiments.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I think for me, that's completely entirely necessary for me to play it correctly. Now I've gotten used to, you grow and get used to counting, but like for this, I don't know.
How are you going to say it? Who's going to say it?
Pepperoni, 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 pepperoni.
Yeah, I could do that too.
Pepperoni.
See, and that confuses me because I used pepperonis for 16ths, not eighths. So, but in this sense, you could do it like that. So for me, what works, my suggestion is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
But that's not technically the way that you would count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. It's just written that way for ease of visually sight reading it. If you want, you can literally like turn this into quarter notes. So if you want 7 over 4, so you have 7 quarter notes, and you could think of it that way, or you can do.
You could, yeah, that's true. It would change if we played it at the same tempo, it would.
You could have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and. Is that what you mean?
No,
right.
But you would change it to like each one will be a quarter note. Just have 7 quarter notes in there.
So you could 4, yeah.
And you just play faster.
There's a lot of things like that in music, man. The more you dive in, the more you go down the rabbit hole. There's like redundancies where you're like, well, it just depends on how you write it, like.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I would say that's.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I would say that's the essence, like the most important thing to remember is that all sheet music is an attempt to have everybody on the same page, and as long as everyone can find something from that pattern, there's no real right or wrong way. I mean, there are wrong ways to do it, but there's more than one right way to think about it. So as long as it works as long as everyone can get on the same page,
right.
That
makes sense. That's where I'm coming from. I was like, there's a actual sound, and then we're trying to represent it with writing. So we could all be given a different page, like somebody could be given 7/4, and then in different tempos, and we could all be playing the exact same thing with like 5 different written representations of it.
Right.
Exactly.
I think you can also write this in 4. It'd be multiple measures, but how many measures would it be? 7. But you can just write this as eighth notes and then put the accents on the in this pattern. So, and it would play the same way. If you did the accents like this in so anyway, there's so many different ways to like skin the cat,
Right.
And like, I noticed that too, like with some of my buddies, like when I was teaching at this place, I would go, hey man, here's how I wrote this. Is this right? And they go, yeah, I mean, that's right. But I would write it like this. And then they would like, and I was like, oh, that looks so much better, but it still would play the same way. It was just, I was like overcomplicating it, with my writing skills. So, and those little tricks and stuff, like an example I always use is like doing like a dotted quarter note, or doing like an eighth a dotted quarter note, and then instead writing it with a rest, or whatever, like and it still sounds exactly the same. It plays exactly the same. It's just like an easier way to write it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So and sometimes that's due to the way notation software plays back what you're looking for. And so if you're writing something and you're trying to make it sound like you want it to sound, the only way you can get it as short as you want to is if you put an eighth note with a rest. Whereas if you were reading it, you would want to hit a staccato quarter note, and it would be that much cleaner. But since we're so used to hearing what we write, the computer playback kind of sets us off.
Exactly.
And that's a pitfall of the drums too, because anyone like Sam, I'm sure you think this, like anyone who plays anything but the drums, a quarter note with an eighth note rest after it isn't the same as a dotted quarter note because anyone else would hold the note longer, whereas we can't hold a duration of a note like that.
Dude, that was a subject on my podcast that was like, it threw me for a loop because I don't play any other instruments but drums. So I was thinking in terms of that kind of stuff, like I'm trying to think of the exact example, but it was similar to the same thing that you were saying, where I was thinking of it as a drummer, and I was just like,
all you need to know is the attack, basically, and that's it.
I was like, it's the same thing. And then the other guys were like, no, it's not the same thing. That note is longer. And I'm like, but it doesn't freaking matter. You know, and they're like, if you're playing a cymbal, like it kind of would. And I'm like, who does that? Like this cymbal crash is going to be like, you know, a dotted quarter note length. And he's like, but like in an orchestra or something like that, it would matter. And I'm like, I don't play in an orchestra, so it doesn't matter, you know. And we were just like arguing, but it's true. It does matter from like that perspective where a note.
And also, like, to play devil's advocate, if you're reading the chart and like the band is holding a dotted half note versus an eighth note, you're going to interpret it differently because you're going to want to play like a longer cymbal versus like a short snare drum, even though you're not like holding a duration of a note.
Yeah. It took me like understanding. I mean, my point was like, it didn't even comprehend the difference, you know, because I'm thinking of it strictly in a percussion instrument. And the difference didn't even comprehend to me, where I was like, yeah, well, that doesn't apply to us because we're drummers. So it's the same thing.
We're all staccato all the time.
Yeah. He's like, no, it's not the same thing. You know, it's the length of the note. I'm like, lengths of notes doesn't matter for us. You know, like it just matters what you play next.
That's a nice t-shirt idea.
Hey, so I'm really glad you guys are having this conversation because I learned to read music for playing a stringed instrument. And I get myself so wrapped around the axle sometimes trying to read for drums because exactly what you guys are talking about. And I always just figured it was some shortcoming that I had. So this is actually like a really helpful conversation for me to hear. So thank you.
But you know what I find interesting about like how different people play? It's more like a playing style, and I'm sure it could come out in a notation, but like, let's say you do a fill around the toms. It could sound really staccato, like choppy, or it could sound really legato and like flowy. But I don't know if it would be written any different. It's kind of like, how do you like execute it, you know?
Yeah, that's there are ways, but I mean, looking at like a lot of marching band like stuff too, there's a lot of different like dynamic stuff that they have that I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Or like the way that they're hitting their drum is like they have notation written for that. Yeah, but I don't it just confuses me more.
Right.
I would also say that so much of music reading is style interpretation, is realizing where, you know, what's around you and what the context of what you're playing is. And you would know whether or not you would want to play a choppy tom fill or a legato tom fill, just judging by, you know, what the temperature of the water is around you.
Right.
I don't think there's like an actual way that you can, unless you want to overwrite everything. And, you know, there's also a point where that goes too far, where you say, okay, well, on this one, make sure that you know, have your left stick at a 45-degree angle, and we want to get this ideal tone. You know, some cats will really go all out in their writing, and it's not as effective as they want it to be. In my opinion.
I think that a lot of, you know, it's like what you said. A lot of drummers are different. A lot of drummers use this tool in different ways. So, I think the majority of drum kit players are using charts for like roadmaps to basically make learning tunes or showing up and just playing down a gig without having to have rehearsals and learn the music and all of that stuff. It's like that kind of tool. For me, it's kind of that kind of tool for some of the gigs I play are chart gigs, or like sessions will have, but some of the sessions are like basic roadmaps or chord charts that don't really apply. They just give you a roadmap on how to, you know, and then I have to physically write out what the ending is, or but like then there's dudes like Mike Dawson, who like really he's told me that he like needs it written out for him to basically play like anything. Like he's like, I would rather just write out what I'm supposed to play and then play that. But then JP Beauvais is kind of more like where he will write out a chart, but it's more of like a roadmap kind of thing to get through a gig. Like when he played with Periphery, he wrote out some of the charts, but it wasn't like, I'm going to write this gig down top to bottom and write out every note. Whereas Mike Dawson would write out every single note for that gig and then read the charts down and play it like on site, flawless. Mike Dawson told me that he had to sub on Broadway and he went to the gig the night before or the week before and wrote out he recorded the drummer and wrote out every single part so he can go and play the same exact gig. And like the people that were in the play wouldn't realize that the drummer was gone. So he wrote out every part, that every drum fill, every note, and then read it down that night.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Yeah. That is not what I do. All right. So let's get on this and then we'll call it a day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I keep saying 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So when we get to this one, we get to the second half, third measure. This alternates 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right, left, left, right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 2. I'm not going to count it in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, let's do it like that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right. How'd everyone do? Did everyone feel? Was everyone feeling that? It's really confusing.
Something that was really helpful for me was just knowing that the first 2 bars, the accents are on the same hand, and the second 2 bars, the accents switch hands. Yes. So if you're just going left, right, left, right, left, right, it's just okay. Same hand, and then different hand. So bucket the ducket, 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 the ducket, 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 the ducket, the ducket. So you kind of get that sense of I'm either staying on the same hand or I'm switching hands with every accent. So that was kind of how I, placed it in time.
That's how it is all the way down too. And that's the same exact way I was thinking when I figured that out, and I could, my brain could adjust to just thinking in that way. Like this is alternating. The second half is, when I do the 3 at the top, it's alternating. It made it a lot easier. So it's really cool. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the chat so everyone can look at it, and now that we have this down, all this is easier. It just takes some time to work it out, at least for me. So just like everything else we do on Chops and Coffee, it's very similar. So Yeah, and then diddles. That starts getting fun where you the alternating thing that we were talking about. Same thing, it's still alternating right and then left, left and then right. And then this one is cool too. So I'll put this up and then we'll try it again on Wednesday. So yeah, any questions?
This might be a basic question, but when you're flamming, is the flam note the one that is marked with the sticking, or is it the other one? Do you hit for a right flam? Do you hit the left first and then you hit the right on the actual downbeat?
So the right-handed flam, your left would actually be the first note. It's just not written; it's implied.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's the same as the accent. You're just adding a little baby grace note before.
Yeah, the sticking is labeled by the primary note.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for that clarification. So yeah. Anybody else? Anything else? Anybody else need any help with this? Everybody good? All right, cool. This is kind of for the other guys, this is kind of what we've done with a bunch of other exercises. So this one is already written out for us, which is cool. Also on the Zildjian website. So shout out to Julie it's too early, dude. Davila. Crazy good like marching drummer. These are all marching warm-ups. But yeah. These are funny, man. They do these like, okay, we'll do it at a nice slow tempo, 210, and they're just like, it's like, oh my gosh, really? So yeah. This is another cool one too. This one's really cool. We should have done this one. Accents, then you're cheesy breading it, then you're diddling that middle note, and then you're doing like a 7-stroke roll here, and then it's like you're just building on it. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 that's a cool one. But you can do that one on another day too. All right, guys. So yeah, I love it. I've been loving the conversation with Chops and Coffee these days. It's like, it's a lot. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, it's very cool. I love the vibe and the banter and the.
Sometimes Chops and Coffee turns from Chops and Coffee to Chat and Coffee.
Exactly.
Just because we don't play, at least we got something done.
Philosophy and coffee.
There's no complaints from me. I love that. I love chatting and I love talking drums. I love all of it. I love that we play a little, we talk a little, we drink a little coffee, we complain a little, we rant a little. But the thing is that's really cool is like one of the things at that shed was the biggest compliment I got was like, dude, your hands are unreal. They're amazing. And that's like something I never had before. So Chops and Coffee has really, really helped me in that department. Forcing myself to work through a lot of these exercises has cleaned up a lot of stuff on my hands. So a lot of times we think we're not, we're our own worst enemies or we're super critical of ourselves. But then when you go, with somebody else, they're like, bro, like, what have you been doing? You're like, I don't know, So that was kind of the something positive that I really was like happy about. And something that we've obviously all together have been working on, together. So I'm sure you guys will have the same experience on your next gig or going to a shed or anything like that. Very cool. How's everybody's weekend? Anybody do anything cool?
Went snowboarding for the first and last time of the season.
Oh man,
It was pretty fun.
haven't been snowboarding in years, man.
Yeah, I hadn't either. I used to work at that mountain, and I don't know, I'm just not into it as much as I used to be. And the season went by. I was away for a little bit, but my buddy called me up Saturday. He was like, "You want to go up to the mountain? It's free if you after 3. Like they just don't even check tickets." So we went up. It was like 70 degrees.
Oh.
And I was in like a t-shirt and jeans. I had a couple of yard sales.
Oh, really?
Like, you. But it was fun.
Man.
My hand's all sore from crashing, but it's all good.
They would never do that in California. Even if it's just like you're snowboarding on ice, they would still charge you like full.
Even the last hour of the day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably, yeah.
They would.
And there'd still be like 600 people there, elbow to elbow, battling you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably more people in like San Diego than there is in this whole state. So I'm almost sure of it.
We do have some good.
Brian? Where are you?
I'm in Vermont.
You got some good maple syrup up there, don't you?
Yep. Tons of it.
Okay, so there's this thing with the Vermont DMV where they're so easy. So I have a Vespa, like a vintage scooter, and it's like impossible to get registered out here. And so there's this thing with like all the vintage scooter community where they're like, just register it in Vermont.
Right.
And so like I just sent my registration in, and they're just, it's like $40. And then I sent the $40 or whatever, paid it online. And then like a few days later, my license plate came in my registration. And then every year they just send your registrations due. And then I just pay $40 and they're like, here's your stickers.
Right.
It's like,
you're all set.
Here in California, they wanted to do an inspection on this like scooter that the blinkers don't work. It's just an old vintage scooter,
Right.
And they the VIN on the motor and the VIN on the bike doesn't match,
Right. Yeah. So it's
never gotten registered out here, And then the backlog would have probably been like $500.
Well, it's a good loophole because they do inspect things here, cars and motorcycles. But since you're not here, it doesn't matter,
Yeah. So if you go on like a scooter rally, I would say like 30 or 40% of the guys have Vermont plates.
That's great.
Everybody asks me like, so did you ride from Vermont? I'm like, no. I just don't have. I'm like, no questions.
Not taking any more questions.
Taking any more questions at this time.
I just got the image from like Dumb and Dumber, just of you by yourself riding a lone Vespa from Vermont to San Diego across the United States. That's quite the image.
I'd watch that movie.
There actually is a movie like that, like where a band of like motocross guys or just whatever guys take scooters across the country. They can't go on any interstates because their top speed's like 40.
Yeah, it gets like that, man. These things are, there's like some of them are souped up. They're cool. I mean, I've ridden Vespas my whole life, like vintage scooter Vespas, not the plastic twist and go ones, but it's they're fun, but it's like at some point, sometimes when you're on these rides, you're like, I should just get a motorcycle, man. This is getting a little, I can't go. I'm only going 55 and it's like wind out.
Yeah. I killed my friend's Vespa. It was like an old 200. It's like one of the last ones that were made in Italy. And I think it shifts on the handle.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And he was living in Portland, Oregon. And I went out there and we were going to go for a ride because he has another motorcycle. And I don't know if you know Portland, like the west side of the city across the river just goes up into the hills. Yeah. And I wasn't like doing anything crazy, but we were going uphill. So I was kind of like ringing it a little bit and the thing just died. It like just quit. I was like, sorry, dude. I tried to go up the hill.
They're like, that's part of the fun is like, am I going to be stranded, way out in the middle of nowhere? Like most likely the answer is yes.
Right.
One of the guys at least is going to get stranded. That's part of the fun though,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to get a motorcycle. I want to get a motorcycle really bad. Dude, Rebecca rides a Harley.
Nice.
Damn.
And a street bike.
Sweet.
Gixxer, 93 Gixxer.
Nice.
You got a Gixxer? Nice.
600.
And she rides it.
I'm on I'm on self-banishment right now. My right foot and the California Highway Patrol don't get along very well. So I've got to, before motorcycle insurance becomes a reasonable thing again, I got to clean up my my speed addiction a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I feel that.
I want a motorcycle so bad. But
Dude, we can't have this conversation because we live too close to each other. We're going to end up talking each other into this, and
I
then
know.
you're going to be in a lot of trouble with Mary because I'm going to completely blame you.
And Rico and I got a guy, so whenever you guys are ready, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Rico always tells me that, like, whenever you're ready, man, just let me know.
Yep.
He always wants to get me on a Harley, though. I'm like, I'm not a Harley guy, man. I'm just not. He's like, you don't know that. You haven't ridden one.
I almost bought
Check
a
out
Harley.
Bonneville. Check out Triumph.
Yeah, I would rather get like a cafe racer kind of bike. I want an adventure bike.
Yeah, there's so many cool bikes out there. I have like a motorcycle collection.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was gonna buy a Harley last year at the end of the season because a buddy of mine has a Harley, and I was riding with Harley guys. And then I was like, I don't want to spend $5,000 on this like old Softail. So I just bought 2 other motorcycles instead.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, 2 for the price of 1 Harley. I'll take it.
Man, we should do like motorcycles and coffee. That's something I would be into.
All right. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
You shift. I have this like
Triples
real
and throttle.
exercise. It's like,
And we bring our practice pads, and then wherever we go, we
Oh,
practice
my-
there, and then.
oh, I would love that.
I would also watch that movie.
You guys don't even know, man. Like most drummers, like I do watch a lot of drum videos and stuff, but most of the time I'm watching like adventure motorcycle movies or adventure cycling, like cycling across country, or van life movie, or like YouTube videos. It's like all I watch.
I think the time for the drum and motorcycle adventure movie genre to really explode.
That might be the next wave for Drum Brigade, traveling the country by motorcycle and teaching.
with your whole drum set on the back of your V-Strom.
Do a sidecar. So, have you seen that dude with the motorcycle electric drum thing? He's like, it's like a full on electronic drum set, like motorcycle. I think it's like a tricycle or a trike.
I'll have to search it.
All right, guys. So let's Jason, you put something in the chat.
Yeah, it's a nice picture.
Oh no, that was my bike before I had to get rid of it. Before, yeah, that's a 2013 Triumph Bonneville special edition in matte black and cranberry red.
Yeah, that's nice.
It looks a lot like my bike. I have a V-Rod.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love nakeds and cafes and all that good stuff. So anyway, but yeah, we're gonna end up talking each other into motorcycles. I have a feeling. I hope Mary can't hear this conversation in the next room.
If anyone wants someone to talk him out of a motorcycle, just talk to me.
So
The voice of reason in the room.
yeah, we need that.
Thanks, Dave.
Drums and motorcycles, they mix, but they don't mix. I don't know what it is about drummers and like cycling, and like motorcycles. But I almost ended my career in a motorcycle crash, and I still love motorcycles. So I almost had to have my foot amputated. It's a story for another.
My friend is in literally that exact situation right now. He's a piano player, had a terrible accident,
Wow.
got an infection. His
Yeah.
foot might get amputated from a motorcycle.
Terrible.
Yeah. So I brutally shattered my heel and my ankle in a motorcycle crash and dirt bike crash, and yeah. So I couldn't walk for, I was on crutches for 5 months and 2 surgeries and recovering for like at least a year and a half, on pills for 3 years. It was super crazy. So yeah, that's why I got out of motocross. Those two things do not mix. And I wasn't getting paid to be a motocross rider. So Like, yeah, it was nice. It was crazy. So I'll have to tell that whole story on another day. I was actually building a podcast like about that. And I have to jump back on that. It would be a good one to tell that whole story. Anyways, guys, so great chops and coffee this morning. Got me out of bed, up early, and ready to take on my day in a positive way. So I appreciate that. Love the conversation again, and yeah, glad we did these. Glad you guys like bared with me through some of those workouts or some of those warm-ups this morning. I'm, like I mentioned, I'm really tired, but no excuses, and I appreciate the patience. Yeah, man, I just want to reiterate before I go that like the positivity that is in Chops and Coffee is really great, and it's such a contrast from a lot of the drum community events, that we often go to. It's not all of them. There's a lot of positivity out there, but I just really appreciate that vibe, and I really think we have a good thing going here through all the stuff that we do. And so, if you can pass on that positivity, and that you are, you're part of a community that accepts you, and there isn't that that negative, competitive, I'm going to show you how great I am vibe, goes a long way. So
you're setting the tone, man. So thank you for that.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, yeah. So let's pick it up again on Wednesday. I'll post this thing in the chat, and we'll continue on. Everybody streaming with us. You guys want to join Chops and Coffee? You know what to do. Just hit that link on the Drum Brigade website page. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Great job.
Bye, Jane.
Take it easy, y'all.